I want to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to at Evernote over the past year or two, and what we're going to be up to going forward. So the goal of Evernote is to be the global platform for human memory. We want to be your permanent, trusted, ubiquitous destination for all of your lifetime memories. Everything interesting that happens in your life, we want you to be able to put it into Evernote, and that's it. And then just be comfortable that you've got it, that you'll always have it, that you'll always be able to find it, and always be able to remember it. And kind of feel like almost like you have a very mild superpower for everything that happens to you. I've been using Evernote myself for a little over 2 years, and I'm completely addicted to it. And I'm glad to see that many other people appear to be addicted to it as well. So we were pretty much running in what I call a phase 1 of the Evernote business strategy up to now. So phase 1 was capture everything. Anytime anything interesting happened to you, whether it happened in the real world or in the virtual world, on your computer or out in restaurants or in meetings, we wanted you to be able to capture it. From your computer, from your phone, from a scanner, from a camera, from whatever. Synchronize it up to our servers, up to the cloud. Also synchronize it down to all of your other devices, so you have it with you all the time, so it's really ubiquitous and reliable. And then quickly be able to find any memory. So if you remember that you had that really nice bottle of wine in the bistro in Paris about 3 years ago, you should be able to instantly locate it, regardless of what phone or computer or laptop or camera or anything else you happen to have then, you happen to have now, or anything like that. This is helped by a lot of our advanced image recognition and search technology, by our tagging features, by our general indexing, synchronization, and search, and so on. So this was our goal for phase 1, unstructured, everything that comes at you, just let it come, get into Evernote, deal with it later. So here's how we've done in phase 1. I think we did pretty well. We launched Evernote about 2 years ago, a little bit more than 2 years ago. June 24th of 2008 was actually the 2-year anniversary of our public beta launch. And since then, here's the results. So we've got about 3.7 million users worldwide. About 145 million memories are currently being stored in Evernote of all sorts of different types. And we've got a version of Evernote available on 12 different platforms in 16 languages, all syncing together and interoperating. It's actually, looking back on this in 2 years, I am fairly impressed and amazed by what our team was able to do, and frankly, humbled to be a part of it. Some more stats. Every single minute in Evernote, the following happens. So every single minute of every single day, 6 new users register. It's about over 9,000 new users a day, every day. 312 new memories are created every minute. 530 searches are performed. That search number is approximate because, of course, we don't actually see everything that you do if you're using local clients, but that's our best estimate. And we process 42,000 HTTP requests per minute across all the various servers and devices, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. Probably more so to me than to our technical people who probably know what that actually means. People use us in a very diverse selection of platforms. We have desktop versions and mobile versions. On the desktop, about 50% of our users are using us on the native Windows client. About 37% uses the native Mac OS X client. And that ratio is pretty interesting. There's definitely, Mac users are definitely overrepresented in Evernote compared to the general population. And it actually used to be very close to 50-50. Because back when we were smaller, when we were almost entirely early adopters, Mac users embraced us with really a great speed and started using new software, adopting Evernote much faster than PC users. But as we become more mainstream, as we cross the 2 million user mark, 3 million user mark, 4 or 5 million, we become more mainstream. I think just the sheer quantity of Windows users starts to reassert itself. So now we're actually seeing Windows growing significantly faster, accounting 50% of our usage. And 13% of our users use us on a web-only platform. So they're using the web-only client from their desktop. Many use more than one of these. We have lots of switchers. We have lots of people that use us on a Windows machine at work and then synchronize everything and use it on the Mac at home, or vice versa. Or some people who are working behind very restrictive firewall and proxy settings at work, who maybe can't install software on their work PC, so they use the web version, and then they use the Windows or Mac version on their personal computers. On the mobile side, iPhone and iPod Touch really dominates the usage for us. About 62% of our daily users on mobile come from iPhone. iPad, and I'm kind of shocked by this number when I looked this up about a half hour ago. And so that iPad is actually 18% of our mobile usage. This is really surprising to me. The last time we did this slide was about a month ago, and iPad was about 9%. And I was going around saying how I'm shocked that it's 9%. And it's kind of doubled since then. So 18% of our users are already on iPad, which is a penetration rate for iPads, which is much higher than for any other device. And I think really shows the quality of the experience that's possible on the iPad. It makes us very optimistic for iPad, but also for some of the other Android-based and other tablets that are coming out. There are many ways to the ideal Evernote platform. 14% of our mobile usage is on Android, and that's growing very quickly. In fact, we are investing very heavily in Android development. We've just more than doubled our Android team, and we'll be expanding it significantly because we've seen all the Android devices that are coming out. We've worked with many manufacturers. We've seen the stuff that's out there now. We've seen the stuff that's coming out in the near future. We're very excited by it. We think over the next year, it's really iOS and Android are the main two competitors. Although we haven't given up on BlackBerry and others, everything else accounts for about 6% of usage, and we are continuing some investments in those areas, although the adoption we see is nowhere near like an iPhone, iPad, and Android. So even though we have this very rich platform matrix of native applications on these platforms, we actually have very convergent usage. And here's some stats about that. Most of our users, the majority, use us on one desktop and one mobile phone. This is pretty unique. There's fairly few services where the default usage is on a desktop machine and on a phone, together, everything's synchronized. It makes sense because Evernote is always supposed to be the two parts of your brain, the two parts of your life, the stuff that happens in the real world and the stuff that happens on your computer. And we see that in our stats. About 20% of our users actually use Evernote on a regular basis from 3 or more devices. And the more devices that somebody uses on, actually, the more likely they are to be a long-term customer and a paying customer. A really interesting stat, 80%, when we survey our users, we ask, so do you use Evernote for personal stuff or for work stuff, or both? And 80% report that they use Evernote for both personal and work stuff. Evernote seems to be this ideal crossover application for modern knowledge workers, for the kind of this generation of people, probably like myself and like many of us here, who have a pretty permeable distinction between home stuff and work stuff. We're pretty much always thinking about work, and we're pretty much always thinking about hobbies and home. And that's a new usage pattern that we're seeing a lot. Lots of people are taking us into the office. We're getting lots of inquiries from IT organizations and companies to make official versions of Evernote. We haven't done it so far, but we're looking into it. But 80% of our users use this for home stuff and for work stuff. Of course, the other thing that stat means is that 80% of our users have a job. They're professionals. So we are skewing a little bit older. Median age of Evernote users is about 37. So it's college students and beyond, but lots of students, teachers, professionals, and so on. And almost everyone stores multiple types of memories. Here's just some stats. So web clips are the most common. People clipping things that they see on the web. In fact, we've recently significantly extended our clipping functionality on every browser, but in particular in Chrome. If you haven't checked out our new Chrome stuff with a site memory, please check it out. Followed by text notes, snapshots from a phone of wine bottles or whiteboards or business cards for recognition. PDFs are 7.5% of our notes. That's growing very, very quickly. File attachments, audio notes, and so on. So people are using Evernote for just about everything that's important to them in their life. Our business model from the beginning has been freemium. And I'm happy to say that we've been a freemium success story. We have a very simple business model. Our business model is 3 steps. We want to make a great product that 1 billion people worldwide are going to fall in love with, use for the rest of their lives. We're going to get a small percentage of them to pay us $5 a month once in a while. And we want to control our costs so that when we get 1 and 2 together, that makes a ridiculously profitable company. So far, so good on all those counts. This is a really basic business model. There's nothing clever about this business model. I really want all of the cleverness reserved for the product. And there's nothing here that relies on us magically monetizing you or your memories in any way. There's nothing here that depends on us having to drive affiliate leads or recommendations or data mining or any of that kind of stuff. In fact, this is a very important part of Evernote's value proposition as your permanent, private, trusted, ubiquitous source. The stuff you put into Evernote is yours. It's private. We don't look at it. No one else sees it unless you choose to share it or to use it with partners. And our business model, the continuing survival of Evernote, does not depend on us figuring out clever ways to make money on your data. It's your memories. We don't want to see them. We just want to store them for you, make them convenient. This is working very well. Back here's how it's working. People often ask what the conversion rates are for freemium companies. It's kind of a hard answer to get out of most companies, probably because I think most people are a little bit ashamed of it. I'm happy to share that with you. So we currently have over 80,000 premium subscribers. That represents over 12% revenue growth every single month, month over month, for the past 2 years. So every month for the past 2 years, we've made at least 12% more revenue than the month before. And the chart actually shows the conversion rate as a percentage of all users, as a percentage of every single person who signs up for Evernote over time. So what happens is the more you use Evernote, the more valuable it becomes to you. The longer you use it, the more likely you are to stay using it, and the more likely you are to start paying. Even though there's no reason specifically to pay, there's no cutoff point where you run out of room. There's no overall limit to how much you can put into Evernote. There's a total monthly allowance, but that gets renewed every month, and most people never hit it. But the more you use it, the more your whole life is in there. And the more you want to keep using it, the more you want additional features, the more you just feel like you love it and you want to pay. In fact, when we poll our premium users, and we say, why did you convert to Evernote? And we list all the different features. Overwhelmingly, the #1 answer is because I love Evernote. And all of the specific features come in much further behind. So Evernote is unique in this sense because it's all about capturing your life. And your life, not your friend's life, your life, is the most important and valuable thing to you. And it gets more valuable over time. Just as an Evernote user, not as the CEO, as an Evernote user, if you were to come to me 2 or 3 days after I first started using Evernote and you said, hey, how much money would I have to give you for me to permanently just delete everything in your Evernote account? You'll never see it again. After a couple of days, I probably only have a few things in there. It's not worth that much. I would say, I don't know, give me 20 bucks. We're even. Let's say you come to me after I've been using it for about 3 months, and now I've got 3 months of information. I've got all my meeting notes, I've got all the good food that I ate, I've got recipes, I've got family pictures, I've got 3 months of my life in there, and say, how much would it cost for me to wipe that out completely? That feels a lot more valuable to me. It probably feels about as valuable as my MacBook. Probably say, $2,000 to $3,000 before I even consider it. Now I've been using Evernote for 2 years. I've got 2 years of my life. When I hold the iPad version, I can run my fingers seamlessly through 2 years of my life. Everything interesting and important for 2 years. That's priceless. That's worth more than my car. I have a decent car, too. After I use it for 5 years, for 10 years, it becomes invaluable, right? I'm going to have pictures of, my kids' first homework assignments, all of the important business deals that I've done, all of the people that I met at trade shows, everything interesting that I ate in Japan and Vietnam and elsewhere. It's going to feel like the most valuable thing I own. So even though it's not going to be the most expensive thing I own, far from it, it'll be $5 a month, it'll be very valuable. And so the longer people use it, the more they want to pay, which explains this curve. This shows the percentage of users that pay for Evernote. In the first month, only 1/2 of 1% of everyone who signs up pays in their first month. That's kind of industry average for premium products. After a year, that's 2%. So 2% of every single person that signed up a year ago is currently paying. And after 2 years, it's already 8%. 8% of everyone who signed up 2 years ago for free is paying, including all the people who've already left. Not active users, total users. If you count active users, it's actually over 20%. More than 20% of our earliest users who are still using Evernote are currently paying us $5 a month. So this brings us to why we're here today, to talk about phase 2. This is what the next part of Evernote's strategy is. If phase 1 was capture everything, phase 2 is be smarter. We want people to be able to leverage their memories, leverage the stuff that they've captured in Evernote and continue to capture to do more stuff. This was always the number one question we got. People would say, well, I've captured all this stuff, what do I do with it? Well, for a lot of the stuff you capture, you don't have to do anything. The use case is memory. The use case is just being comfortable that you've got it, that you remembered it. But for a bunch of other stuff, you want to use it. So we're going to provide structured functionality so that you can use your memories for all sorts of important everyday transactions. You know, shopping, travel planning, cooking, writing, productivity, scheduling, collaboration, that kind of stuff. We're going to let you capture and browse from any device. So whatever kind of camera or computer or new gadget that you have, you know, TV, car, refrigerator, is going to have Evernote in it. Your external brain is going to extend to every device that you touch. We're going to let you add and discover structure in your data through doing visualizations, semantic analysis, things that actually let you play with the structure that you've used. Once you've actually got some data in Evernote, a few months or a couple of years, it's actually really enriching, really valuable to be able to find the hidden structures and connections. Connections that you may have even never known about, but that make your life feel richer, better examined, more augmented. And we're going to integrate with everything. Everything that you'd want Evernote to integrate with, any of your favorite tools, we're going to have this integration. Now that's a lot of work, and we obviously couldn't accomplish even 1% of this ourselves, so we have to rely on partners. Which is why I'm happy to say that as of today, we have over 2,000 API partners, over 2,000 third-party organizations that have developers working with Evernote API keys to build functionality into Evernote. This obviously lets us multiply by many-fold the number of people working on making awesome stuff in Evernote. It'll have very quick results, in fact, at an accelerating rate of new functionality. So we put together this brief video.
I'm Josh Rubin, and this is Otis. We're from Coal Hunting, and we work with Evernote.
I'm Megan Conway with Blackbook, and we work with Evernote.
Hi, I'm Greg Casey with Dog2Do, and we work with Evernote.
I'm Lexi with Doxy, and we work with Evernote.
I'm Juan with MySmomental, and we work with Evernote.
I'm Christine with iPi, and we work with Evernote.
I'm Greg Leimer with Lexmark, and we work with Evernote.
I'm Leonid with Wayfleet.
I'm Alec with John Nine.
I'm Ranveer with Lilograms.
I'm Jean-Christophe Ville.
I'm Loic with Sismic.
We work with Evernote.
This is Anand Office Drop.
Bruno with Darpipe.
I'm Holly Simmons with SAP.
We're the editors of California Home and Design.
I'm with Koala, and we work with Evernote.
So what we're launching today is a way for us to really take advantage of all this great work and effort by partners and to make it even better for everyone. We're launching the Evernote Trunk. So this will launch as soon as this press conference is over, and you'll be able to check it out. The Evernote Trunk, other than being an astonishingly clever wordplay, is an in-app showcase of integrated products, services, and content that make your Evernote experience that much more awesome. It's designed to bring additional functionality to Evernote users very quickly, much faster than we can do it ourselves, and it's designed to bring additional exposure, popularity, visibility, and revenue models to partners. We have many different types of partners, from very small 1 or 2 person companies to very large Fortune 500 companies. They all want different things out of their Evernote experience, and the trunk is set up to provide all partners with what they want to make their business succeed. There's currently over 100 items in the trunk at launch day today from 67 different companies. 30 of them, over 30 of them, are brand new, unveiled today for the first time ever. Some of the other ones are integrations that have been written before that we haven't actually been talking about all that much. Here's what it looks like. I wanted to do this demo live, but marketing folks apparently saw some other recent keynotes and said live demos don't work that well. I was warned away from doing it, so that's fine. But we will be doing demos for the people here, physically present. We'll be doing demos right afterwards in the back of the room, so you'll be able to check it out. And for everyone watching remotely, this will be live very soon, so you can check it out there. So the trunk has many different categories. There's mobile categories, which will feature mobile applications, applications for iPhone, Android, other platforms that give great experience within Evernote. A really cool example of this is something called Paperboy. This was launched as of today. Paperboy is an app that lets you just take a picture with your phone of any newspaper, a section of a newspaper or magazine story, automatically identifies it, and then delivers the original content of it electronically into your Evernote account. So if you're sitting on the train and you're reading something, you don't quite have time to finish it, you just take a picture of it, you don't have to get the whole article, you don't have to be super careful, and then get to the office and read it from Evernote. This is a fantastic experience that I think will be a very significant benefit to the media, to the print media, to magazines. Unfortunately, this is only available right now for German language paper. It's made by a German company. But we are working with them to take them into, help to take them into the US. And I think this is a fantastic functionality which would be great to be adopted worldwide. The next category is desktop and web. These are applications or services that you use primarily while sitting down. For example, Nitro PDF Reader. People have been wanting rich PDF editing and annotation in Evernote for a long time. And we've got an integration with a Nitro PDF Reader, which lets you do very, very powerful PDF editing, store everything in Evernote, synchronize everything. It's a fantastic PDF use case, also available now. Hardware is the next category. This is hardware and gadgets that work really well with Evernote. Lots of scanners. We've got partnerships with Canon and Fujitsu and Lexmark, but other devices as well. A really neat one is this AirPen. Available right now only in Japan, but again, working with them to make it come to the US. Actually, as you browse through this, you'll see lots and lots of stuff from Japan. Turns out we're huge in Japan. Kind of like Smile Tap. This is a pen that lets you write with normal ink on a piece of paper, and then automatically sends those results into Evernote. So you can combine the best of both worlds of pen and paper writing in your favorite notepad, and then have it all stored, time-stamped, indexed for recognition in Evernote so you can access it from any device. Gear. Gear is a kind of a catch-all phrase that will have t-shirts, stickers, books, several Evernote books, some in Japan, one just an ebook just published in the US, and many more coming out, but also other stuff. For example, the Evernote Starter Pack, which is our first ever retail box. Available in retail stores, pretty much all major retailers in Japan. It's a 3-month starter subscription. It's kind of the cloud in a box that is made through our partnership with SourceNext. And we're actually very happy to have the CEO of SourceNext all the way from Japan here with us today, Nori, over there, who actually has several other very cool Evernote integrations that I'm sure he'd be happy to discuss with you. This may be the first time anyone's actually put a cloud service in a box, in a retail box. It's meant to drive many more mainstream consumers who aren't necessarily comfortable with getting internet services from the web or more comfortable with buying things at retail, get them into the internet experience. It's probably the first cloud in a box, which explains why it's so light when you pick it up. It's basically cloud. And we tried to get it to shoot out at you when you opened it, but that would have been too expensive. So the trunk is available inside of all of our clients, natively available inside the clients, and the Windows, Mac, and web versions are launching today. You'll see this button, this little wood grain plus. Click on it, it'll bring up the trunk. And then it'll be available in the iPad version next week. We submitted it a few days ago, hopefully it'll be approved by next week. And it's coming soon for iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, and other mobile platforms. So the vision is to have everywhere where you can use Evernote, you've got the Evernote trunk, and you'll be able to discover and start using really awesome integrated hardware, software, and service products. So what are the goals of the trunk? Well, there's several. One of the main goals is to bring much requested features to Evernote. Ever since we started, people are constantly writing in with what they want us to implement. And a lot of this we try to implement ourselves, but of course it's too much for a small company to do. So the trunk, even at launch, brings several of the top most requested functionality to Evernote. For example, probably the most requested was searching through audio notes. So transcriptions and voice searching through audio notes. PDF annotations. Business card handling. A lot of people use Evernote for business cards, but there's no dedicated business card system for it. To-do support, integration with scheduling and calendars and much more. And this is the kind of functionality that you can get in the trunk today, and much more of it will come later. And to talk about one of the most requested features launching in the trunk, I'd like to introduce you to Sean from Dial to Do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Here?
Yeah.
This on? Okay. So I'm Sean Sullivan. I'm CTO with a company called Dial to Do. And as the ad says, we work with Evernote. I'll give you a tiny bit of background on Dial to Do, and then I'll just get on with explaining what voice to Note is. A little bit of context for us. We're a startup headquartered in Dublin, Ireland. If we're streaming on the web, hello to the people all back in the office who are watching us. It's just after tea time back there in Dublin. We've been on the go about the same amount of time as Evernote. In fact, we first met the Evernote guys at a Mobilize conference in San Francisco about 2 years ago. And we had this very high bandwidth conversation about their service and our service and all the cool things we could do. And one of the things I was very impressed with is, unlike some of the other startups with a particular mentality that you meet, the reaction wasn't to rush off and let's just glom something together and put something out in the marketplace. What we did is we talked and talked, developed our respective services, and looked for a way to really create a joined up offering that we thought that users would love and use for a long time. Dial to Do, what is it? It's a voice services platform. What does that actually mean? Basically, our mission is to enable you to connect to services that you like to use with your voice. So to make it as easy as possible to speak to things and to engage with them that you use every day. So to be able to send email by speaking to it, to listen to your email, to talk to Twitter, to create reminders, and to use services like Evernote. So that's Dial to Do. We have a couple of services that are out in the marketplace already. One is called, if you go to dialtodo.com, you'll see something called a hands-free assistant, which is a service that targets the driver in the US market. So it's a service that you use, keep your hands on the wheel, and you speak to it to get stuff done. Evernote were one of the earliest companies that we talked with who really had a passion about voice and audio. They were very keen on integrating audio. I think you integrated it from day one into the Evernote service and making it more usable for Evernote users. So what we're doing with Voice to Note is we've worked with the Evernote API, integrated ourselves into the trunk, and made it as easy as possible to have a simple, rich experience to use Evernote, to get your stuff into Evernote. Voice to Note basically does two things. One is it will convert your audio notes into text. So it reaches into your Evernote account, converts any audio notes there into text, and therefore makes them searchable and a richer asset in your Evernote account. The other thing is that Evernote's on a mission to make it easier to put Evernotes into the system, and audio notes in particular. So one of the things you can do with Voice to Note is you can dial a phone number using any phone. You don't need an app for this. So you call a number, you speak, and that creates an audio note in your Evernote account, which will later on get converted to text. And you can also, if you wish, tag it. So you can use your own tags on that audio and create a much richer, reusable asset. As Phil mentioned, it's one of the things that Dial to Do users who've been using Evernote and Evernote users who've been using audio notes have been looking for this kind of richer functionality for a while. We're thrilled to be able to launch this today with Evernote. It's live as of the end of this press event. We can demo it to you afterwards and at the Novo Tech event tonight. And we'd just like to say thanks to Evernote for giving us the opportunity to speak to you and show our works. Thanks.
Thank you. So this is really awesome. I've been using it for a little while now, and basically, yeah, I can dial a phone number, say anything I want. It appears with full voice and transcription in Evernote. Or I can use any of our apps to make a voice note, and the same thing happens. So it's, I think, exactly what users were looking for. And there'll be many other examples of this kind of much requested functionality from partners, either already integrated into the trunk or coming soon. The next big theme of the trunk is to act as a bridge to the social web. Evernote is primarily private. It isn't social. In fact, we used to say for a while we're sort of the anti-social app. Evernote doesn't care about your friends. Evernote doesn't care about your friend's cat. We're for you. We're not for them. We care about what's in your head, and we want users who have substantive, important things that they're working on, that they're thinking about, that they're interested in, to store their memories, your memories. Having said that, a lot of what you want, a lot of what you store in Evernote is private, but a lot of it you want to share. You want to collaborate, you want to share, you want to publish it, you want to give it to friends, to enemies, to whatever. There's always a big demand for this. And of course, we have no desire to become a publishing or a social service, but part of the trunk allows us to act as a bridge to the social web. The other element of this, the other half, is what we call social memory. Much of your social stream, much of what you see that sort of just washes over you in your social stream and Twitter and Facebook and everything else, much of it you really don't want to remember. It's really kind of a good thing that it's very transient, very ephemeral, here today, gone the next minute. But some of it is actually really good. You want to remember it. You want to add a sense of permanence to your social web. So to build this bi-directional bridge between your memory and social and Evernote, we made many capabilities into the trunk. And to talk about this flagship integration is John from Seismic. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Phil. Hi, John Yamasaki from Seismic. I'm Director of Community and Partnerships. We have products, social application products that cover the desktop, web, and mobile. We have a Seismic desktop, and we're coming out with a plugin architecture that we'll be releasing later in the future. Actually, it's out now in a preview version. We also have our Seismic web. But we also have our mobile products, particularly with our integrations with Evernote, is the Seismic for iPhone and Seismic for Android. And our CEO, Loic Lemire, who was not able to attend, and Phil are very, they have a vision for implementing social memories. And when you think of social memories, of course, you may think of, oh, memories with your friends, but in this case, it's really memories from your social stream. People that not only your friends that you follow in Twitter and Facebook, but also influencers. People, for instance, if I see a tweet or a message from Guy Kawasaki on some kind of open forum, an open forum article, and I'm in a situation where I'm kind of seeing it in my iPhone app, in the Seismic for iPhone app, in the social stream. I'd like to keep it. I can't really see it immediately. I'm in a situation where I'm in line, I'm in dinner, but I want to keep it. I want to keep it in the future. So in Seismic for iPhone and in Seismic for Android, I'm able to actually tap and hold and then be able to send it to Evernote. And one of the things that we want to make sure and we keep this is that all of this valuable information that becomes your social memories is, they can be inspirational quotes, they can be links impacting your industry. And in a mobile situation, we try to make it easy for you to keep those memories in place. So we're pretty happy with our integration, and we're looking for further integrations with Evernote. In our Android app, we're also going to be implementing Google Buzz very soon, very soon actually. And what I find interesting about our integration with Google Buzz, for me personally and for us, is in using it is when I have my friends connected in Google Buzz and things like Google Reader is shared instantly, that's information from my friends that I want to keep, but I'm not able to read immediately. And so with the API integration, we can seamlessly integrate or seamlessly share it into Evernote. So we're pretty happy with our integration, and and would like to thank Evernote and Phil for being part of the Evernote Trunk. And I'm able to also show you and give you demos for Seismic users and in the Android and iPhone after this. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I first met Loic, the CEO of Seismic, I guess a while ago. We started talking about this idea. It seemed like a very powerful idea, basically using Seismic as a bridge, a funnel, between all of your social content and Evernote and going vice versa. Loic's really a character. He's sort of some of you probably know him. He's I kind of think of him as kind of like Richard Branson, but not French, but not English, but French instead. He's sort of a French Richard Branson with less hair. You should tell him I said that, John. Right now, you can take anything from Seismic and put it into Evernote, and phase 2 will be the other direction. We're very pleased with that. The next major category, the intent of trunk integration, is group functionality. We have a lot of demand for functionality for groups. We have many companies contacting us that want to buy an enterprise version of Evernote. We're working on that. That want to use Evernote to share documents and ideas with their coworkers, to use their memories in Evernote as input into various processes, and then store the results of those processes back into Evernote. And so the big goal of the trunk is to enable all of this kind of functionality to let you collaborate either with your classmates, with your coworkers, with your friends, and to really make Evernote to build on this 80% of our users who use Evernote for both home stuff and work stuff, and make Evernote the ultimate hub for modern knowledge workers. And to talk about our flagship integration in this space, I'd like to introduce Dave from a very small company, tiny company, David Meyer, the Senior Vice President of On-Demand Productivity and Sustainability at SAP. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. This is a great opportunity. I am so excited to use all this. Especially the voice bit. I've been eating that for a while. So I think there's a couple memes here today. Phil and I have been talking for about a year and a half on some of these topics. We got going on our missions at a similar time. I joined SAP a little over 2 years ago to build a new product for SAP called Streamwork. And Streamwork intends to let you flow through your work. A lot of work today involves screaming at a computer, but it also involves hitting boundaries in the systems you use and needing to take information out and draw it on a whiteboard and workshop it with other people to get a solution to it, sometimes very quickly. We often describe the problem as a virtual war room problem, where today our war rooms are conference rooms with whiteboards and stuff like that. So Streamwork wants to let you pull all the relevant data out of any systems you touch, bring anyone into it, and apply the world's leading, that are community-sourced business methods to drive it to a quick solution and give you a transparent, implicit record of what happened. Well, in the enterprise, you have to work with data a lot, and people pretend that data is locked away in systems, but most of the data we use day to day, at least me, is in my head. The data is in my head. We do decisions based on a lot of memories. And my head's not very good. You know, Phil got me the first time we talked when he said, if you're in any way dissatisfied with your brain, Evernote's very relevant to you, and I'm incredibly dissatisfied with my brain. So you have all the data in your head, but you also have all these ideas. And the most productive people in life, work, or otherwise, are able to leverage their ideas from all kinds of disciplines, the boundary disappearing between personal and professional life, and apply them to crazy situations at work. You know, a vineyard I went to on the weekend could be relevant to a deal I'm doing on Tuesday. So we're very excited to leverage the extensive memory and bring it into action. And Streamwork lets you take anything out of your external brain, Evernote, all of those ideas, bring them into an activity, we call it. Invite anybody you want and do SWOT analyses on them, pro-con analyses, data analyses, nail down a decision, and make that a transparent decision record in a few minutes that today is rather hard to do. So I'm tremendously excited. I'm very thankful to be here. I also can show demos and everything else after this talk. The main thing I want to point out is we're doing a few things together that people don't normally associate with this tiny company, SAP. A lot of making people more productive is working with the fastest moving, most brilliant companies represented by a lot of people in this room today. And we have a completely open ecosystem, open APIs, freemium model, and everything else. It's fully compatible with a lot of the themes you've heard already. So again, thank you for including us.
Thank you. Right, and there's always a danger that some people maybe watching from home actually not know that SAP isn't actually all that small. I first became aware of SAP through all the airport advertising. I think like 4 out of 5 dentists recommend SAP or something like that is what I remember. And when I started talking to David, the idea was to have a collaboration to make software that will be used at enterprises that enterprise knowledge workers use because they love it. Not because someone forces them to use it, not because their IT department has a policy. Knowledge worker software that people use because they love it, in the same way that's what people use their social software because they love it. They use games because they love it. We want to do the same thing for everyone sitting in a cubicle. Another big category, and maybe the newest one, the newest type of category, really very interesting to me in the trunk is this idea of branded notebooks. A branded notebook is a piece of content from a good brand name publisher that covers something that you're interested in, some kind of a lifestyle content that's important to you, and that you can take, easily put into Evernote, use as a guide, use as a reference, use as inspiration for your own life, and build additional Evernote memories around. For example, we will have branded notebooks from restaurant guides and travel publications and gadget guides and hobbyist magazines and design, architecture, wedding planning. Anything that you obsess over that's part of a lifestyle, that's a hobby, that's a profession, that you form memories around, you should be able to have a rich selection of branded notebooks available in Evernote to act as sort of a reference and a seed for that style of activity in Evernote. This is a new distribution model for traditional publishers. It's a way for them to get content that's timeless. We're not interested in things that expire quickly. This isn't about news. This is about things that will be relevant to you today and will be an important memory for you in 5 years and 20 years. So you can get the content yourself and start building on it, annotate it with your own thoughts and ideas and memories. And to talk about one that I'm most excited about is Dale from Make Magazine. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Phil. So Make Magazine is about projects, and it's about DIY or do-it-yourself. And really, in the magazine industry, DIY magazines are like cooking and woodworking, and they're really intended for people that are doing things. And so our focus in the magazine is not so much a reader, but a doer. And almost from the beginning, we know that people are using the magazine to do their own thing, to build a project of their own, or to take a project from the magazine and try to build it. We've had a physical print notebook, an empty notebook with some pages in the back, such as about capacitors or LEDs, and you fill it up with your notes. You're taking notes from a new project idea, or you're keeping notes as you're building a project. So we really think this is part of what we also do online, and whether it's like with Make, typically we're looking at sort of integration of physical and digital things. You might be writing still in a physical notebook and taking pictures of it so that you have an opportunity to share that. But there are things like parts lists. There are you know, you visit a number of different sites and you get ideas. You're going to build a combat robot, and you want to go out and it's something like that person's combat robot, a little bit like that person's combat robot, and you kind of want to organize some of the instructions about that you find out there. So we're going to be sending some make project samples through this Evernote Trunk, but I'm particularly interested in how people use it to add their own content, their own notes, as much as they do a physical lab notebook or a maker's notebook. So we're glad to be part of the program, and hope we find out new ways to interact with our audience as a result.
Thank you. You know, I love Make magazine from the very first issue. An avid reader, it kind of lost me for a while. I think he had an issue where it was all about like a crochet fruit or something, and that was kind of a bridge too far for me, so I sort of fell out of it for a while, but I'm back in now, and Make is a great example of an obsession of people. And Evernote is a great way for you to cultivate that obsession. So the way this actually works is in the trunk you'll see several publishers. We have California Home and Design, Black Book, a few others, and there'll be many more coming. In fact, actually Sarah from California Home and Design is here today and can show you some stuff in the back. And each publisher has a selection of noteworthy, notable pieces of content that you can just click and directly from the trunk import into your Evernote notebook as a custom notebook. So if you get anything from Make, you will get a My Make notebook, which has the content that you got, a welcome note explaining how to use Evernote for your major hobbies, and then you're encouraged to, as you form your own memories around this particular topic, to stick them in the same notebook, to annotate, to augment, to make this personalized and meaningful. Importing notebooks, branded notebooks from the trunk does not cost anything in your usage quota. So if anyone's wondering, you can do this all you want. It doesn't actually count against your quota in any way. So, what's coming in the future for the trunk? Well, lots of stuff. I guess the main thing is there'll be a lot more functionality. We are currently working with many developers and recruiting many more to do all sorts of cool things in the trunk. There's games. Games are actually really excited about. All sorts of memory training and brain training games. Picture ways to improve your own memory, ways to train your brain, except for instead of using abstract symbols and exercises, it actually uses your Evernote memories, your Evernote account. You can really, I played around with some experiments on this, and I can feel the synapses form in my head as I'm going through some of these things. Productivity, semantic analysis, workflow stuff, templates, a much requested feature to be able to actually personalize and customize notes. All of this is the kind of stuff that's coming into the trunk. We're also working on tighter in-app integration of partner functionality. So you'll actually be able to trigger partner functionality right from within the Evernote client, make it feel like it's just an integrated part of Evernote. We've already achieved that with some things like, for example, Dial to Do, which is a totally integrated experience. You just make audio notes, tag them, and then the transcripts will show up. There'll be lots of other stuff that you'll be able to trigger actions directly from Evernote. So the idea is to have a really rich interactions. And of course, integrations with tons of other stuff, including hardware. There's some really interesting hardware coming out. Computers, phones, cameras, televisions, pens, that'll have a really nice Evernote functionality in the future. The next big thing for the trunk future is more revenue opportunities. More revenue opportunities for the partners, more revenue opportunities for developers who want to develop great functionality in Evernote. Right now, developers, partners in the trunk are free to have whatever business model they want. A lot of the stuff is free. Other stuff is paid. A lot of it are things like iPhone apps, where we just send you directly to the App Store, or Android apps, or services. And partners can charge whatever they want through the normal channels. We work with the existing channels and app stores. This isn't an app store on top of an app store. It's really just a showcase of all the stuff. So currently, partners can have free functionality. They can have paid functionality. They can show advertising in it. We don't touch any of that at all. What's actually coming is in-trunk commerce. So for a lot of things, you'll actually be able to order it right from within the trunks. You'll be able to say, yeah, I want to add this capability to Evernote. I want to add voice transcription or other stuff, just click a button right in there. It'll add it inside, and if that's a paid feature for a client, a partner, we'll actually handle that transaction. There'll be an automatic affiliate program where if partners are driving users to Evernote, they'll get an affiliate payment back. And I think most exciting, and we're still working out the details of this, but I'm a firm believer in it, is automatic Evernote revenue sharing. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, the business model is doing really well. People are using Evernote for everything in their life, and more of them are paying for it. And our philosophy is, if a partner makes some great functionality that's really compelling to people, that keeps them coming back to Evernote, and maybe that actually makes them upgrade to premium, they're entitled to a percentage of that revenue, just like we are. We want partner third-party functionality to be a core piece of the Evernote experience. So if you write a great app or a plugin service that Evernote users really love and use, and especially premium users use it, then we are working on a formula to actually share that partner revenue back with partners, share Evernote's revenue back with partners. Our goal is to make, for small companies, it should be a viable business model to just make something awesome that works with your external brain. If somebody has an idea for really cool functionality that they just want to plug into Evernote, that works well with Evernote, that Evernote users will love, we want them thinking about that, not thinking about, well, how am I going to make money out of this? We want just making something awesome to be good enough and for people to be able to actually monetize that. And of course, on top of that, they can still charge for it if they want, they can still show ads, they can still do whatever. So we will be working on this with current partners and new partners and rolling all of this out this winter. So you can join the trunk. Go to s.evernote.com/trunk for instructions on how to join. Seth, who is the head of partner relations, did he just tuck out? Did you know that I was interested in? Oh, there he goes. Seth, right there, is the guy who is in charge of the trunk and the person that you want to interact with if you want to get in here. So go here and get in touch, and we would love to see you in the trunk. So thank you very much. Again, there's demos in the back. I'm happy to answer any questions. There's other people here that would be happy to, I think, answer questions as well. In particular, Sarah from California Home and Design is here. The team from Smile on My Mac is here. They've got a great launch integration with the trunk, which I think they'd love to talk to you about and show off. And ZeptoPad. 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 ZeptoPad is an awesome iPad app, mind mapping, sort of drawing app on the iPad that is really well integrated with Evernote, and you can show it up there. It's a lot more artistic ability than I have. It's very cool. So ZeptoPad over there. And last but not least, actually, we've got one more little announcement, which is we're announcing our newest advisor to Evernote. Actually, someone who really helped us think through this process and this business model and this trunk. It's Guy Kawasaki, who is sitting right there. So maybe Guy might have some time to talk to folks as well. You've all got some swag. There's some small, I think, gifts for everyone. There's a little Evernote tote bag full of stuff. There's one thing which I personally think is really cool, which are these little Evernote stickers, these little fuzzy stickers. What they are is they are restickable as many times as you want. They use like nanobot technology, so there's no adhesive. So you can stick it and unstick it. And this side is actually a screen cleaner. And the coolest part is if you put two of them on your phone, being very careful not to obstruct the Apple logo, you can actually use both of them together to clean your iPad. So it's all about the integration of these products. So thank you very much.
So if anybody has any questions, we can answer them now, or you can talk to Phil afterwards. Any questions?
Chris Nuttall, Financial Times. It sounds it sounds like you're starting out with a showcase and you're moving towards a full-service app store. Is that correct, or you're more concerned with publicizing and showcasing?
Well, the focus isn't to make an app store. We don't see ourselves as another channel. There's already lots of great ways for companies to sell their apps and their products. I don't think we add any value by being another app store. We want to be primarily a showcase Secondarily, a way to easily activate and integrate the products and really just get the user experience inside of Evernote the best that it can be. And if, in some cases, the easiest thing for a user is to make a purchase right inside of Evernote, then we'll allow that. But in cases where it's easier to just go to an app store or buy something online, then we'll have that as well. So we have even when we launch in Trunk Commerce, there's no requirement that partners do that. But for some of them, it may be easier to do it in-app purchasing, and we'll handle it that way.
And there's no 70-30 revenue split or anything like that?
We haven't decided the details for when we implement commerce. There's no revenue split right now on stuff that we're not handling. So we do all the promotion just for things that we love. When we implement, if we decide to do the financial transaction for people, there'll be some kind of transaction fee just to cover our costs, but we haven't decided the details yet. Thanks. Please.
Hey Phil, Wade Roush from Economy.
Oh hey.
Hey.
Nice to see you in person.
Nice to see you. Thanks. So great announcement, amazing features. I have something that's missing though. First thing I'm going to mention. I'm curious, so you'll know from talking with me, this is one of my hobby horses. I'm curious about how you enable people to take the content they're putting into Evernote and republish it and share it back out to the world. And I think I asked you in one previous conversation, so are you going to integrate with sort of blogging and publishing tools so that people can take Evernote stuff and repackage it in nice ways? Didn't hear anything about that today, so is that one of the things that the APIs will enable?
Yes, absolutely. They already enable that. There's a couple of integrations in there that allow for publishing and sharing through Seismic, through some others, and we'll be doing a lot more of that. So the goal very much is, if Evernote is everything that's in your brain, for the portion of it that you want to keep private, you keep it private. For the portion of it that you only want your family members to know, you've got a really easy way to share that information. For the portion that you only want your lawyer to know, you've got an easy way to share that information. And for the stuff that you want to publish to the world, there'll be integrations with blogs and other great publishing tools. Anyone else? Great. Well, I'll be hanging around as will other people and happy to take any questions. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, everyone.